Alright guys, so in this video we are going to look at some more examples of geometric sequences. Just remember with geometric sequences you are multiplying or dividing to get to the next number. Kind of your clue to these geometric sequences, the numbers are going to get really big really quick, or they're going to get really small really quick, versus our arithmetic sequences that get larger or smaller a lot slower than geometric. Here is your generalization. There's essentially our formula. You need to know this. For the nth term is going to be a1, which is the same as our arithmetic. Our first term is a1. R to the power of n minus 1. R is going to be that common ratio, which essentially is just going to be our rule. And then that n is still going to be the term you are looking for, very similar to our arithmetic sequence. So let's look at these examples. The first question says, write the first 6 terms of the geometric sequence with a first term of 6 and a ratio of 1/3. And so what that means is I am multiplying by 1/3. Yes, that is the same thing as dividing by 3, but we want to, so I've got this little note over here. We want to think about things in terms of multiplication because that's how the geometric sequence is defined. So I'm going to multiply by 1/3. So times 1/3. 6 times 1/3 is going to give me my next term as 2. And then I'm going to multiply by 1/3 again and give me 2/3. And then I'm going to multiply by 1/3 again and give me 2/9. And I'm going to keep multiplying by 1/3 to give me 2/27. And then the last one, 2/81. You can see that the numerator is not changing because I'm multiplying by 1/3. What's changing is I am multiplying the denominator, essentially just multiplying the denominator by 3. So there's kind of your pattern there once you get into the fractions. Do write these as fractions, not decimals. All right, number 2 says write the first 6 terms of the geometric sequence with the first term of 12. So again, I'm writing that first term is 12 and a common ratio of -1/2. So now I'm multiplying each one by -1/2. And so 12 times -1/2 is going to give me a -6 as my second term. My third term, -6 times -1/2 is going to give me a +3. I'm going to multiply 3 by -1/2 and get -3/2, and I'm going to keep that going. -3/2 times -1/2 is going to give me +3/4. Multiply again by -1/2 and get -3/8. And so those would be my first 6 terms for that one. Again, write these as fractions. Don't write the decimal versions. All right, number 3 says find the given term for the geometric sequences with these following conditions. So we've got 3 parts here. The first part says find the 8th term if A1 is 4 and R is -2. So we're going to use that formula off to the right. Because I'm looking for the 8th term, that means that N is going to equal 8 in my formula. And so that formula off to the right, you can kind of see it highlighted over there, is going to be A1 R to the N minus 1, and that's going to equal AN. Well, in my case, I'm looking for A sub 8. A1 is going to be 4, that's my first term, times R, the common ratio, -2 to the N, or 8 minus 1. Now, a lot of times students want to multiply these two you have to do the exponents first. So I have to take care of this part first, and then I will multiply by 4. And so to simplify this, I've got 4 and the -2. Now 8 minus 1 is going to give me 7. So I need to simplify this whole thing before I can multiply by 4. So I'm going to do -2 to the 7th power and then times 4. That's going to give me a final answer of -512. And so that is going to be the 8th term in that sequence. All right, letter B, the 5th term. So it says find A5 if A1 is 4 and D is 3. So same thing, I'm going to plug it into that same formula. So I've got A5 equals A1 is 4. And then R to the N minus 1. Well, R, that's a typo. That should say R. Oops. That should say R is 3, and then N minus 1, 5 minus 1. So again, I have to simplify that whole exponent first. So I'll have 4, 3 to the 4th power, because 5 minus 1 is 4. I'll do 3 to the 4th, and then times 4 is going to give me an answer of 324. Or you can type that thing into your calculator just like it appears. Make sure that you're using the exponent button, or your calculator may have an X to the Y button. That's what you'll use for these exponent powers. All right, our last one, should also say R. Our last one says find A sub 6 if A1 is 18 and R is 1 over 3. And so it's essentially saying find the 6th term of this. And so I'm going to use that same formula. Equals A1, which is 18, times R to the N minus 1. And so there's my formula filled in. Again, you want to simplify this exponent. So I'll have 18 to the -1 over 3. 6 minus 1 gives me 5. Now, when you type this thing in, you're going to get a repeated decimal. The directions are going to say round to 3 decimal places. Make sure you do round. With the bar over this, that is not a rounded answer. That says 0.074074, and so on. My lab and the test will ask you to round specifically, so you will write this as -0.074, rounded off to that 4th decimal place right there.